The most effective types of Instagram guides. Before starting to use Instagram guides, it is important to try and gauge what type of guides will be the most effective. There are three main types of Instagram guides: posts, products, and places. Different guides will present differently and will give you different results depending on your content and business structure. This presentation will give you some tips on the most effective kind of Instagram guides. To begin, it kind of goes without saying, but it is still important to mention that the most effective types of Instagram guides are, of course, the ones that are most appropriate for you. The best guides align with your brand's values, appeal to your audience, and will benefit your business in some way. There is no point just doing guides for the sake of it. Determine what your audience will get from them and how this will work for you, before just churning out content to appear relevant. The most effective kind of guide is one that best represents your content and resonates with your audience. Product guides. Product guides can be used to share a particular product with your audience. You can include reviews of an explanation of how the product best functions. It is a great way to explain a more complicated product. For example, the manufacturing method of materials used for your audience. Product guides can only be created about products that are listed on the Instagram shop, so it is a great way to draw attention to your favorite products or options. Place guides. Place guides are great to create a guide to a place that has a location tagged on Instagram. It is the best way to create a recommendation for a business. Post guides. Post guides are the most versatile. You can create lists and compilations of posts centered around a certain theme. It is a useful way to share your expertise and group relevant posts together. Additionally, you want to use an effective headline and name of your guide, as well as helpful descriptions within your guides. You want your language to be clear and concise, to demonstrate your point and be engaging. You should encourage your audience to share the guides too. It can be beneficial to include some sort of call to action within a guide. For example, a discount code or a "mention this guide for a free." There are many ways that you can be creative with guides, so make sure you take any opportunity you can to do so. The most effective guides are going to be the ones that work towards meeting your business and engagement goals. So think outside the box. Use your imagination and really guide your audience into engaging with your content. How to promote your content through Instagram guides. When a new feature is introduced, one of the first questions creators often ask themselves is, how can I make this work for me? This naturally is a very common and valid question. But once you have determined how it will work content-wise, you need to figure out how to promote it and which way is going to be the most effective path to do both. This guide will run into some of the ways that you can promote your own Instagram content through guides. A subtle way to promote your content is to create a guide that is mostly comprised of other users' posts, but sneak your own posts in too. This will not look like self-promotion, and it will also include your content amongst other popular, reputable, and valued creators. If you have a product that is available on the Instagram shop, you can create a product guide. In this, you can explain your product a little bit better, perhaps the manufacturing process, your inspiration, the benefits, why you chose certain elements, and why it is perfect for your audience. You can even create a behind-the-scenes guide or even in making, all in order to further highlight your product. If you are the owner of a small business that has a physical location that is available on Instagram, you should create a guide to this business. If you have a cafe, perhaps, you could explain elements of the menu or elaborate on your coffee making process. Depending on your audience, they will love this. It is also a great way to utilize user-generated content and share posts that other people have made of your location. You do not have to be the owner of a location to make a guide for it. You may even find it conducive to include a discount code or some other kind of incentive to encourage people to share your guide with others and then engage further with your product. For example, the tag of friends in comments or mention this guide for a free coffee. Friends who like to go to coffee together will share this post with their friends for incentive. Promoting your own content is as simple as including it in as many places as possible Asking and encouraging other creators to include it in their guides too will be a good way to reach new portions of your audience. Instagram guides appear authoritative and reputable, so adding in your content will add to the power of your brand. Do not forget to check the analytics of your posts to determine how intentionally promoting your content impacts the levels of engagement. Whether you analyze likes, saves, or the follow-through likeliness of your content, there are a plethora of ways to promote your content through Instagram guides. Best 5 ways to promote your Instagram guides. Instagram guides are a new feature that is exclusive to Instagram. Instagram guides are effectively a way to create blog posts within the app. No longer will users have to click external links to find new information. It will all be able to be found within the app. This means that the promotion will also mainly be in-app. The easiest way to promote your guide is to share it to your Instagram story. It would be more beneficial to do this at a popular time of day when your stories are getting the most number of views. You should also be mindful and make sure this is the time of day where target audience would be in a position where they could take the time to read your guide thoroughly and engage properly with your content. For example, maybe you receive high engagement on simple posts or stories, like a morning coffee or inspirational quote in the morning. But for a guide, which will take longer to engage effectively with, maybe it would not be conducive to post it in the morning if your audience is full of people who work 9 to 5 and only check Instagram briefly on coffee breaks. You can also share your guides multiple times on your story, although you should be cautious of doing this too often in case your audience gets sick of the self-promotion. There is a fine line. Find the sweet spot and roll with it. As you know, on your profile, once you have created a guide, you will get the Guide tab, which is the feed where the audience will scroll through all your guides. To make sure people are aware of this, you could add a story highlight to your profile titled Information and share your guide stories there. This seems minor, but is a great way to remind your followers that guides exist. If using someone else's post, first consider asking them. You can also DM, comment to let them know, and ask if they would share it. This way, your post reaches a new audience. If someone else uses your post in that guide, it is also polite to share it in your own story. This would build a good relationship between you and the guide creator. Having such relationships are essential. They could be sharing yours, and you can build partnerships and come up with new content creations together. Adding captions to posts to encourage your audience to visit your guides is another possible strategy. In essence, promote your guides in ways that your audience will respond to. At the end of the day, the best promotion is good content, because that way, your audience will do the promotion for you. How to use Instagram guides to supplement your posts. Instagram guides are a fantastic way to supplement your posts. With standard feed posts on Instagram, you are constrained with either posting text-heavy pictures across as many slides as you need or including information in a caption with a finite character count that your followers may not read all the way through. And if you have extra words that you need to add, you'll have to paste them as a comment on your post. Naturally, this is not ideal for a lot of circumstances. For this reason, the use of Instagram guides may be incredibly useful for explaining text-heavy concepts or ideas, interspaced with visual aids. Guides will not extend the number of words you can include in captions, but they will allow you to further express your ideas and expand on what you mean in a longer form manner. Users will use guides to actively look for information, meaning it is the perfect place to take an authoritative stance on issues and make recommendations on particular topics. Instagram guides can only be created based on posts that have already been posted, meaning you cannot upload pictures that have not already been posted on Instagram. This adds another dimension to your posts and is something that you can take into consideration when creating posts. You can also supplement your posts with other users' posts. This is a great way to show that you're not confined to your bubble and aware of the world that is going on around you. It is a way to cement yourself within your industry and prove yourself as an expert. When using the product feature of guides, this is a great way to add extra and additional information about a certain product. This could include reviews or explanations into the product's use or making method. You could also include behind-the-scenes looks. Guides are a great way to collect all your posts on one theme in one place. This makes it easier for your audience to find certain posts without having to scroll through your entire feed. Additionally, your audience will be able to find recommendations and interact with your content in a more meaningful way that is entirely relevant to them. Guides are the best way to add more detail to certain topics that you have branded yourself as an expert in. For a very basic example, if you post a lot of photos of brunch, creating guides around the best brunch spots or best coffee or the most Instagrammable decor would be a fantastic way to take your content to a whole new level. With the advent of this feature, Instagram has effectively created a way for you to expand on your content in a clean and concise manner, but not necessarily having to ruin the theme of your feed. It is a super effective way to convey information and position yourself as an authority on any given thing. To conclude, guides can be the perfect way to expand on your posts and give your audience a deeper understanding of your content. How to use Instagram guides to create a brand. As any feature is introduced, marketers must determine how it can be an asset to their social media marketing strategy, and Instagram guides are no exception. Branding is a cornerstone of marketing, and it is more essential than ever on social media. This presentation will outline how Instagram guides can have many benefits, one of which is helping you build your personal brand more effectively. Your brand is, in essence, how your audience perceives you. You should make sure that you are perceived in the best possible light. You want your audience to trust and respect you, and to feel comfortable engaging in purchasing your products, or the ones you endorse. If your audience does not trust you or your content, they will not engage, and they will not translate into monetary value for your brand. This guide will show you how you can use Instagram guides to present your brand as authoritative and knowledgeable, and ensure that you stand out as an expert. The goals of branding, of course, are simple: raising brand awareness, gaining brand recognition, and finally, achieving brand loyalty. A simple way to create a brand is to create a uniform persona that you use on your account. This means that the personality that you used to post needs to be consistent and attractive to your audience and align with the content you're posting. Your content and your brand need to align. If they do not work together, then your audience will be confused and disengage. By using guides, you'll begin to stand out as a leader in your industry. By having the confidence to make recommendations, you are also influencing the markets. This is huge power. By creating a guide, and because guide, by definition, implies intelligence, strength, trust, and being a leader, you are creating a positive image for your brand. By creating guides, you are effectively guiding your audience's purchasing habits and online interactions. Use your brand to build power and results. Guides are also a great way to cement the personality of your brand. For example, if you tend to visit the same type of places, such as craft beer cafes or hipster coffee shops, or even secondhand stores or a certain type of high fashion, you can create guides into these topics. They can be particularly good to be location-based, for your local followers or those looking for a tourist guide into a certain area. As all good marketers know, having a brand is one of the best ways to portray yourself as a successful business. Ensure that your guides fit in with your brand and do not send mixed messages. Guides can be easy to integrate into your content strategy, and they can have great benefits for increased brand awareness, recognition, and loyalty. Top 7 ways to use Instagram guides. The main purpose of Instagram guides is to give recommendations and provide audiences with information in a more long-form manner than other posts on Instagram allow. They are a combination of a blog post with a reference guide. They are incredibly simple yet effective ways to collate ideas and information. In this guide, we will discuss the top ways to use Instagram guides and how this can be beneficial to businesses and branding online. To promote places and small businesses, if you or someone you know has a business with a physical location tagged on Instagram, you are able to create a guide promoting it. You can use user-generated content as well as your own in order to advertise in an exciting way for a business. You could explore the production process, give information on the business creation process, or different elements of the business within this guide. It will really help your audience get to know your business. Plus, audiences love to know the ins and outs of what and who they are supporting. To share information, you can use your posts as well as others in an informative guide. Using content from other creators in addition to your own is a great way to supplement your content and reach new people, as well as give exposure to other creators. And then to create a guide to your favorite spots. Create guides for your favorite place. This is great for people with an influencer-geared account. Users want to shop, eat, and visit the cool places that they know that their favorite creators frequent. Fantastic for travel guides. Turn your posts from a city into a visitor's guide and give your recommendations as to what is cool and worth checking out. You could also just create food guides and Instagram-able location guides. That one is bound to go down a treat. Behind the scenes. You could provide a detailed overview of a product or share some of the exciting production processes. Again, this depends on the kind of content you've already been sharing with your audience. Followers love to feel like they're getting sneak peeks or exclusive content. They also love seeing the less structured posts. For example, behind-the-scenes glimpses. This is yet another way to give depth to your brand. Create partnerships with businesses. As you're promoting businesses or content, particularly once you've built a large following, you'll be able to create partnerships and sponsorships with business. This makes your brand more reputable and increases your exposure. More information. If your brand shares a lot of information on Instagram posts, for example, sharing text posts with definitions or explanations of current events or even just quotes, collating relevant posts and news into a guide is a great way to go into more detail. You should collect all your posts around a single theme or idea and create them into one easy-to-navigate guide for your audience. You'll be able to go into more detail in the comments, and this is also a great way to provide recommendations for new resources or new accounts to follow. The only limit with Instagram guides is your imagination. You can create so many different things depending on your pre-existing content, your content strategy, your audience, and your creativity. Think outside the box and determine what sort of content your audience wants to be recommended and then do so. 9 quick tips to creating successful Instagram guides. Instagram guides are the latest feature created by Instagram. They were implemented so users could be able to create easy lists of their favorite posts. Instagram guides are a way to give recommendations and explanations on topics and collect all your posts around a particular theme in one easy-to-find place. This presentation will run you over some simple tips for creating successful Instagram guides. The first step is obviously to make them clear and concise. It is better to have less content if the alternative content is reiteration and re-explanation. Do not just ramble on for the sake of it. Have a relevant title, succinct headings, and appropriate descriptions, as well as making sure you're not cluttering it up by having too many posts. The second tip is to ensure that your guides are relevant to your content. You do not need to create new posts or avenues for your content in order to create a guide. First, you should use and expand on the content you already have. Collate similar posts into useful resources in a guide. Once you are more confident and familiar with the concepts, as well as familiarizing your audience with your new content type. Begin to create posts with guides in mind. Not all posts have to be included in a guide. They can just provide. You will need to promote your guides. The easiest way to do this is to share it on your Instagram story. Your followers will see your story and be able to click through to your guide. Amend or add comments on some of your posts to direct your followers to the guide. If you're using someone else's posts and content, you may wish to inform or ask them first. While not essential, if the post is public, it is still a polite thing to do. You then may find yourself building partnerships and being promoted to new audiences. Including content from other reputable leaders is a great way to include yourself in a larger conversation and be viewed as trusted by the association. You also need to encourage your audience to share your guides. Getting your audience to promote your content is some of the best forms of marketing. It is the social media form of word of mouth. You also need to make sure that your guides will add value to your business. If you do not have that kind of relationship with your audience or already promote certain places, products, or posts, your audience may view your guides in a more skeptical manner. Back up the posts you already have. You do not necessarily need to create brand new content to use in a guide. You can use the posts you already have. Use guides to add further depth and detail to your brand and content. You will be able to expand and encourage your audience to engage with different content in different ways. You're able to go beyond surface-level posts and limited captions, but going deeper into different themes and concepts. Most of all, you need to have fun. If you are excited about and happy with your new content type, your audience will be too. So there you have it. Guides are simple to use, and by implementing these tips, you will be an expert in no time. They can add tremendous value to your brand authority and reputation. So determine how you can best maximize this. 5 reasons why you should use Instagram guides. Social media platforms are constantly bringing out new features to keep us scrolling through content and posting new posts on their platforms. The latest offering from Instagram is the Guides feature. A guide is, effectively, a kind of built-in blog post, meaning that users can create lists or recommendations on a certain topic. They involve using posts that have already been posted on Instagram, with new headings and descriptions. This presentation will run you through several reasons as to why you should take advantage of the new feature and use Instagram guides. Reason 1. Instagram guides are the best way to share your knowledge and recommendations. You create lists and compilations of posts centered around a particular theme. You can create Instagram guides on any topic, from products and places to posts. The only requirement is that the posts have already been posted to an Instagram feed. Reason 2. Guides will help you to build a personal brand. It will add authority and strength to your posting and make your business seem more reputable. You want your followers to trust and believe in you, so sharing your expertise in guides is a fantastic way to cement your brand leadership. Reason 3. Guides are a method for you to create a new kind of content. They can aid in the transition of your brand, for example, becoming more of an expert on a subject rather than an influence. However, it does not have to be an entirely new type of content. Instead, it can supplement your existing posts. This will allow you to add detail that you simply cannot in a regular post. Reason 4. You can collate all your posts under one topic in one place, which is easier for your audience to read. For example, for products, you can collect your behind-the-scenes pictures or the process. You could even do a guide that is as simple as collecting your favorite cafes and restaurants. Reason 5. Even if it does not yield immediate results, guides are a long-term feature. They will still be available on your profile, and presumably, the information will still be accurate. You can update your guides and republish them in information orders, but it can still be a fantastic way to begin to position yourself as an authority on a certain topic. Additionally, you can use guides to share content from other creators. This is a great way to not only build relationships with other brands, but also to insert yourself into the in crowd. By including your posts amongst the popular accounts and leaders in your industry, you're raising your reputation and influence too. To conclude, using Instagram guides will have numerous benefits for your business. Take the time to determine where and what guides will best fit into your content strategy and most resonate with your audience. Then, let your wisdom do the talking and watch your audience grow. A subtle way to promote your content is to create a guide that is mostly comprised of other users' posts, but sneak your own posts in too. This will not look like self-promotion, and it will also include your content amongst other popular, reputable, and valued creators. If you have a product that is available on the Instagram shop, you can create a product guide. In this, you can explain your product a little bit better, perhaps the manufacturing process, your inspiration, the benefits, why you chose certain elements, and why it is perfect for your audience. You can even create a behind-the-scenes guide or even in making, all in order to further highlight your product. If you are the owner of a small business that has a physical location that is available on Instagram, you should create a guide to this business. If you have a cafe, perhaps, you could explain elements of the menu or elaborate on your coffee making process. Depending on your audience, they will love this. 6 quick reasons to use Instagram guides to grow your business. When new features are introduced on platforms, often some users are hesitant to undertake the process of using them. When the feature is released, usually there's not immediate uptake by all users. This can prevent other creators from using it as well. This is a misplaced fear. Instead, rather than shying away from using a new feature, you should be embracing it. This quick presentation will take you through some reasons why you should start using Instagram guides today. First, platforms tend to reward creatives that are brave enough to use new features. Therefore, you might find Instagram favoring your posts and improving your location in your followers' algorithms, as well as increasing your exposure to new followers. If you are aiming to truly capitalize on the new update, work quickly. With quick uptake, you'll find that you have less competition within the field of guides. This means that your content does not have to be as refined as a post would need to be in order to send it out. Your followers will be more impressed with your guides because they have less to compare them to. This is not to say, of course, that your guides would not be good. Simply that followers have low expectations to begin with. Nevertheless, guides are a great way to give information on a certain topic. You can create collections of posts that are all based around the same thing. This is a great way to highlight certain areas of your feed without your followers having to scroll through all of your posts. You can also show the content that is relevant to yours by including content from other creators. You can give much needed exposure to other creators as well as building a community between your audience and theirs. You can also use specific guide features to recommend products that are tagged on the Instagram shop features as well as physical locations. If you own a small business with a physical location that is tagged on Instagram, this is an excellent way for you to promote your business. You can include photos that other users have put up in order to include some user-generated content and show your followers, future customers, that other people have enjoyed their time there. This is a way to amplify the word-of-mouth marketing that many businesses rely so heavily upon. Instagram guides bring a new way to collaborate with other users. You'll be able to build a partnership with someone by sharing their posts or them sharing yours in a guide. This is an excellent way to increase your exposure. Instagram guides operate as an authoritative thing, which means that your audience will perceive you as an expert in your given industry. It will add to brand power. You can also present yourself as an expert in any given topic by creating a guide on it. You can collate other users' posts on a topic and include yours in with them. In conclusion, building a business on Instagram has never been easier. All you have to do is determine which elements will be the most effective for you and focus on them. How to increase engagement on your Instagram guides. It's not enough to just put content online. Your audience needs to interact with it and follow through on your call to action. Naturally, the goal of any social media post is to have it reach your audience and have them engage with it. It is not just about how many people see the post. It's about how many of them resonate with it and like, comment, share, and save it. Ultimately, what you want from your post is not for it to translate into sales, although that is a happy part of it. But surely, ultimately, you want to change people's lives. This presentation will concentrate on the former, getting engagement on your Instagram guides. The life-changing is something you will have to figure out for yourself. The first and best way to promote your guide is the share it to your Instagram story. Having a loyal following, full of audience members who regularly engage with your story and get high views, will be incredibly beneficial here. Adding your guide to your story is an easy way to draw your followers' attention to it and encourage them to view it. Creating links between your content is a great way to encourage engagement. This includes adding captions to your posts suggesting that. For more information, your audience, head over to your Guides tab and read the appropriate guide. Additionally, editing the caption to posts that are included in guides or adding a comment suggesting something similar will direct your audience specifically to your guide. Another way to promote your guides without strictly promoting your guides is to run a question box on your story. Ask your audience for questions, and when you receive a relevant question, rather than answering it straight up, post a link to your guide instead. Sharing other users' guides, assuming they are not direct competition to your own, is a way to promote the concept of a guide. It will also help build good relationships with your fellow creators. Engagement will not just be about the engagement on the actual guide itself, however. It will also be about the impact that your guides have on the post you have included in the guide. On the guide, users will be able to click through onto the original post. This is a great way to encourage engagement on your regular posts. Therefore, when you're checking the analytics on your guides, you should also analyze the difference between posts that have been included in your guide and posts that were not. There is a multitude of ways to encourage engagement on guides. You'll be able to use your already tried and tested methods for inciting engagement. The most important thing is to continue to monitor your engagement and test new methods. You have nothing to lose by being a little more creative. But at the end of the day, the best way to encourage your audience to engage with your content, guides included, is to make them relevant, appealing, and interesting. This will make liking, commenting, and sharing irresistible.
Hello and congratulations on getting access to this video course. We're going to talk about how to grow your Instagram fan base. Let's just go ahead and jump right in, and this is video number 1. And let's talk about a quick overview of what's inside this video course so that you know exactly what to expect. Of course, this is video number 1. Video number 2, we're going to talk about a list of things that you need to do before you can actually drive traffic. So before we actually jump right into the 4 different traffic sources that we've pinpointed to figure out what is best as far as driving traffic with Instagram, I want to talk about a few things and just prepare you so that you're able to start out on the right foot. Video number 3 is going to be broad niche and specific posts. Video number 4 is going to talk about demographics. It's a big mistake that a lot of people just jump straight into trying to drive traffic without really trying to think, okay, who am I trying to attract? If you don't know who you're trying to attract, then it's going to be hard and going to be difficult on what you're trying to do. And then you're just trying to hit everything. You're just trying to drive tons of traffic, and at the end of the day, yes, you might have a massive list of 100,000 people, but it doesn't matter if you're not building a quality list. So that's what we're going to talk about in mindset in just a minute. So after that, we'll talk about traffic source number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. All right. So now what I want to do is talk about mindset. I really want you to think about quality over quantity. That's why I brought up the issue with you don't want a list of 100,000 followers unless those followers are super targeted and they are your demographics. That's when it's okay. But at the end of the day, I don't really want you to think, oh, I need a list of, I have to have a list of 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000. So it's easy to get trapped into I want a large following. But really what you don't want to do is you don't want pride to ruin your profits. If you look at a lot of people who have big lists, they're like, I've got this big list. So it's really showy, it's really prideful, and I don't want you to get in that mindset because it's not about pride, it's not about the big list. It's about providing valuable content to your followers to the point that they love you, they love your content, and they're willing to buy from you versus somebody else, all right? So that's what I'm trying to get at right here. So it's better to have 100 fans who love and engage your content versus 1,000 fans who don't really like or view your content, right? So start with this mindset first and you will become more successful, all right? So what do you need? Well, obviously you need an Instagram account. We assume that your account is well branded and converts as well. So meaning that your account has, your brand on it, whether if it's your personal brand or your company brand, you have an idea that Instagram is all about lifestyle, right? People may have found you via Facebook, which Facebook is all about discovery, and then Instagram is all about, oh, okay, I know more about you, but I want to get to know you. So that's what Instagram is all about, all right? So I assume you have a better idea of that and you have a good Instagram profile and you're ready to begin driving traffic. But if you haven't really touched base yet, I'm going to talk a little bit about this in the next couple videos, and that way you're able to start out on the right foot. But the main goal of this video course is, of course, to get your traffic strategies that actually work. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to video number 2. Welcome back. This is video number 2, and let's talk about what you need to do before you can drive traffic. So there are a few things that you must have. Aside from having an Instagram account, you need to make sure that your account is well branded, meaning the type of person that you are attracting is going to really want to follow your personal or company lifestyle. Now, I touched briefly about this before, but if you're not well aware of this, as you know, different social media platforms are different, right? So Instagram is all about the lifestyle. People follow you on Instagram because they want to know more about you on a very granular level, meaning they want to know more about your lifestyle. So let's say, for example, like scuba diving, all right? So with scuba diving, they're going to want to know more, not just about scuba diving, but they want to know, what you're doing like before scuba diving and all that, right? So they kind of get to know you on a better, more personal level. So you need to figure out, are you doing this as a personal lifestyle or is this a company brand lifestyle? So obviously brand lifestyle would be a little bit different, but personal would be more on a personal level, right? So your branding needs to address that. How well your profile resonates with your target audience is one of the most important things because it's kind of make it or break it. So Instagram is all about that. And as you know, like YouTube is all about entertainment. People go there to kind of waste time and they're not really thinking. They might want to go there to learn, but they're also there to kind of waste time and all that. So that's a different platform and different atmosphere. So as you know, you can't really go to a different culture and act differently, right? Otherwise, you're going to stand out and you're not going to fit. So I'm not saying you need to fit a specific person, but rather you need to fit a specific platform. Like I said earlier, Facebook is all about discovery. Like people go to Facebook and they might discover your brand or you, right? So they want to know more about you and they therefore go to Instagram. So as long as you have that kind of, okay, this is what I need to do in Instagram. I need to pick and choose pictures that fit content or pictures that showcase our personal or our company lifestyle, then that's what the type of mindset, that's where you need to be. All right. So if you get this right, the type of people that follow you are going to be higher quality type. All right. So that's your goal at the end of the day. Get 100 people that really love and consume and engage and like and heart your Instagram pictures versus getting 2,000 people and maybe getting like one like here or there. All right. So that's kind of what the mindset that I want you to be into. All right. So, like I said, let's talk about scuba diving for a minute. Let's say we are selling the latest, greatest scuba diving mask. This mask will allow you to breathe on, go underwater and view the beautiful things underwater for a longer period of time. Maybe it's easier, whatever. So, if in order to do this, you're going to need a profile that attracts this type of person, that gets them excited by showing them the lifestyle besides the scuba mask. So, like, for example, on Facebook, you might sell a scuba mask, or even on YouTube, you might show how to use it. But on Instagram, you want to show the lifestyle around it, right? So you might want to show scuba diving lifestyle, what happens during the day, maybe before you go scuba diving, maybe afterwards, or just the lifestyle so people can kind of see, okay, this is how it fits into my life. And I got some ideas, I got some inspiration. I'm going to go buy your product kind of thing. All right, so selling on Instagram is very indirect. It's not direct at all. In fact, if it is direct, you're on the direct response marketing does not work very well on Instagram, right? So that keeping that in mind, you might want to integrate the scuba mask into the whole picture, and that way they have a better idea of, okay, this is how it fits into my life and all that. People want your product or service simply because it not only solves a problem, but the keyword that I used earlier is inspiration. A lot of times people go to Instagram to get inspiration, to get ideas on how to incorporate it into their lives. So they can see from your lifestyle, they see different inspiration, different ideas that they can take back. And if they feel that they have gotten value from you, they're more likely and more inclined to actually purchase from you, right? So that's what you need to do before you can think traffic. Traffic is easy, but getting your profile set up right, picking the pictures that you need to choose that fit the lifestyle and the style of your brand is crucial. Now, another thing that I want to say is if you're looking for pictures, you can go on sites like bigstockphoto.com, you can go on graphicriver.net, and what I recommend that you do is you find pictures that fit a similar style. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 3, and let's talk about broad niche and specific posts. Basically, how to set your profile up in such a way that it attracts the right person. And it'll make more sense as I dive into this. So now that we've discussed why branding and attracting a very specific person is important, the question is, how do we attract them? Well, your main profile should cover a broad niche, and that's why this is titled Broad Niche and Specific Post. So what does that look like? Well, it shouldn't be too broad, but it should be broad enough that it attracts a specific person of a specific mindset. And then, of course, your content posts, which are your pictures, then should be more specific. Now, while that makes common sense, I'm actually going to jump in. I'm going to show you how to actually do things in just a minute. So here's what I mean. Let's say you're targeting scuba diving, all right? So if that's the case, you should use a general or broad keyword related to scuba diving. Now, if you want to do scuba diving, that's fine. Maybe you want to do something more specific, like you're just scuba diving masks, all right? So you can focus just in on that as your broad niche keyword. But you don't want to be too specific because you want to attract somebody of a similar mindset. So in that case, you might want to do like a scuba diving profile. Now, if you're a company, that's a little different. If you're a personal lifestyle, you can go a little bit more broad with a personal lifestyle. So with a company, you kind of have to do it a little bit more specific. But if it is specific for your profile, your posts need to be more specific. Now I'm going to show you different ways and different tools that you can use to actually break things down so that you can brainstorm more specific keywords. And that way, instead of just posting to post, you have a reason to post, and then you have the ability to post things that people actually want. All right. So we're going to use Google Suggest Keywords, and I'm going to show you in a minute how to actually do all of this. All right. So this will allow you to find high demand, high search keywords that people really want. And you're not just thinking, okay, this is something that I feel like is going to work. You're actually using actual data from Google that actually says that these are keywords that people want to know. All right. So that way, instead of figuring things out yourself, you're just taking a look really quick. As you'll see in just a minute, we're going to do it really quick. You're going to have it in hand, and you're basically going to have a roadmap to actually what to do, basically. And you can use this later on. So for now, let me jump right in and let me go ahead and show you this in action. So obviously, before you can do this, you need to have an idea of what you want to sell, right? So that way it'll tell you whether you need to do scuba diving mask. That is a little bit more specific, but yet general, or you need to just do a widespread scuba diving, very, very general, right? So you need to know that before you actually do this research, because it's just going to make life a lot easier if you do it this way. So let's say, for example, that we're going to do scuba diving. We don't really care about the masks or anything like that. So all you do is just type in scuba diving, and then you can scroll all the way down to the very bottom, and you're going to see the following. So you're going to see scuba diving gear, scuba diving meaning, equipment, facts, dangers, Goa, whatever that is, and then videos, and difference between scuba diving and snorkeling and all of that. So you could even go further and type scuba diving gear and see what you find here. So we can go down to the very bottom again, and these are basically Google suggested keywords. That means that there is a very high demand for these keywords. That means people are searching for these keywords. So you could take these and you could break them down, and you could say, okay, my profile is targeting scuba diving. So what you could do is make sure that you focus on maybe different types of gear packages, gear or tanks, different equipment and all that, and how that integrates into your lifestyle. Obviously, if you're going to do scuba diving and that's part of your lifestyle, then hopefully, you're teaching something that you're already familiar with, so that's going to be a lot easier. You just take pictures of your scuba diving gear. Now, if you're doing this for like affiliate marketing and you're not really scuba diving, then of course you kind of have to get creative, and then of course you can go to places like I said, like Big Stock Photo, and find images. So how about I do that just right now? So this is bigstockphoto.com, and let's say we'll type in scuba diving. Now, what I mentioned earlier about styles is if you go through here, you'll start to begin to notice there's a very specific style, because different artists, different photographers are different, right? So maybe you really like a certain picture. So if you click on it, Big Stock Photo will actually tell you who the contributor is. In this case, it is Rich Carey. So if you click here, you can actually see all of the photos by him. So then your pictures actually begin to look very similar. somebody looks at it and they're like, okay, the style is very similar and therefore the brand is very similar. The problem is a lot of times if you're picking and choosing different photos from different authors, they look totally different, and then it kind of creates this uneasiness, right? So people don't know how to say it, or they don't know how to explain it, but they just feel uneasy. So that's why when let's say you have specific keywords that you find, and you want to make sure that the images that match that also match each other, right? Because at the end of the day with Instagram, it's big in images, so people will judge you by often the 9 images that show up on your profile first. So you might want to take a look at these bigstockphoto.com or Shutterfly or are these other royalty-free image sites. So that's what I would do as far as finding, keywords, starting with the broad keyword, which is very easy. That's whatever you want to sell, and then breaking it down from that point on. Now, another tool that you could use is the Google Keyword Planner, but honestly, I feel like this is the easiest way to do things. Plus, you're also seeing the suggest keywords, which are what people actually are typing in a good amount of. Now, you could also use other suggest search engines like Amazon.com. So let's go over there for now. So Amazon.com is a great place to go to simply because if you notice, if you type here, let's say scuba diving. So as you are about to complete the sentence, you can see that it also gives you suggestions like scuba diving equipment, fins, regulator, mask, lights, computer, and knife and equipment package. So Amazon, as you know, people go here to buy products and goods. So they're more likely to show you what is actually profitable. So you can get keywords from here. You can also go to places like eBay. You can go to Walmart. You can even go to youtube.com to get an idea of what people are looking for. You can also go to Instagram as well. So this is kind of how you can figure out the specific posts. And from here, you can break it down even further. So for example, let's say scuba diving mask. So we type in scuba diving mask, and you can see that it breaks it down further. Scuba diving mask and snorkel, diving mask set, case for kids, frameless, defogger, strap cover, and GoPro mount. So you could even break it down further. Let's say strap. Let's see what we get. So sometimes it'll stop at that point. So set, dive it. So let's just take a look at scuba diving mask and see what we get. And from there, you can figure out, okay, these items are selling the most. Maybe I'll do a lifestyle review on that or something. And there you go. That's basically all you have to do. Nothing complex, and I didn't want to make it complex at all. So like I said, just a quick recap. Number 1, get your main keyword. Number 2, get your specific keywords and turn those specific keywords into specific posts. Okay, so welcome back. This is video number 4. Let's talk about demographics, which is really crucial to understanding who you are targeting before you actually begin to drive traffic. Because the worst thing that you can do is drive traffic without even knowing who you need to target. What age, what sex, female, male, whatever, and all that. The life stage and all that is very, very important, because if you attract the wrong person, then you're not going to get really the conversions that you're looking for, right? So don't invest any money yet. Let's talk about demographics. So like I said, before you can use any traffic source 1, 2, 3, 4, you need to do this research. I'm going to make it quick as possible so you can get an idea. You can go do it yourself, and you can be on the road to figuring out how to build up your Instagram following. So basically, you need to know who you're targeting. Like I said, male, female, age, life stage, all that. And you can get all that information for free by using a free tool. Now, this way you find a high quality follower who will love, consume, and engage with your content if done right. So here's how to do it. Basically, the way it works is once you have found your broad keyword, which you should have figured out in the previous video, you can use the free Facebook Audience Insight tool, as I will show you in just a minute. Okay, so the best way to get to the Facebook Audience Insights tool is simply by going to business.facebook.com/ads/audience-insights, and that should forward you here. If you have any problems, you could always go to google.com, do a search for the Facebook Audience Insights tool, and you should find the link here. So sometimes Facebook will change the links, so that is the case. That is how to always find it out. So the way and the reason why I like the Facebook Audience Insights tool is it really drills down to the point that you can see who your demographic is. Now, the best way to do that, especially if you're getting started out, is you can do it in two different ways. You can either go find a magazine that is very popular in that niche, or you can simply type in the interest here. So up at the top, you can search for a specific country. So normally it sets you within the country that you're searching from. In this case, from United States. And you can always click the X and you can add like UK, Canada, Australia, or whatever else countries that you're looking for. You can also specify the age and gender, but I wouldn't do that right now. In fact, I wouldn't do anything right now. The only thing that I would do is under the interest, I would put the actual interest. So I would put a very broad keyword. So in this case, I would do scuba diving. So if you notice, if I put scuba mask, it doesn't even show up. So what you're looking for is a very, very broad keyword. So in this case, scuba diving. Now, what's even better is if you can find like a magazine. Let's see if this one's a magazine. Yeah, so this one's a magazine. And the reason why magazines are great is because magazines they'll do everything in their power to promote their magazine. So they get a lot of traffic coming to their page. So if you can find a Facebook page as well, that would be great as well. But as you can see here, we can see 61% is men. And then of course, 39% are women. The majority of men, it looks to be from the ages 35 to age 54. Same with the females as well. So there's females, males, it seems like the largest group is 35 to 54. So after you have a better idea of the age and gender, you can of course take a look at the lifestyle, which will give you a better idea of what kind of pictures you can use for your Instagram profile. Looks like there's a lot of married and college, well educated, and there's a lot of veterans, government, and military. So we have a better idea of what kind of pictures that we should choose. You can go to page likes and get an idea of the different pages. Go to these pages, take a look at the pages, see which images get the highest comments, the highest likes, and then maybe use similar images for yourself as well. Location is okay, but it doesn't really matter right now. Really what we care more about is just the demographics and the page likes. And that's all you have to do. Now, if you want to narrow into a very specific area, let's say men 45 to 54, you can always click this and get a better narrow view. But even if you click that, we can see that it's about pretty much the same. So once you're done with that, you are good to go to the next video. Welcome to video number 5. Let's talk about traffic source number 1. So the first source is called shoutouts. The way this works is by finding another Instagram follower who has a massive following, then paying them to promote you. So instead of contacting them, which you can do if you want to, there are many different sites out there that you'll be able to find these Instagram influencers and then approach them, pay them money, and then of course get them to build essentially and promote your Instagram profile. There really aren't many methods that you can use to get tons of followers overnight, but this is one of them few. So let me go ahead and show you some sites that you can use, and I'm going to show you how to use them. Okay, so there are a few places that you can go to get shout outs. And keep in mind that when you grow your Instagram profile to a point, you can do this as well and make some extra money on the side. But there are tons of people out there with massive size Instagram accounts. They might be directly related and they may not. So another reason why you really need to know your demographics is, let's say if we can't find somebody who is scuba diving Instagram profile. If that's the case, then we need to look for something out of the box, like maybe camping or something of that nature, where we find people who maybe not necessarily are fanatical scuba divers, but they want to see the coral reefs and they want to see the beautiful ocean, but they're campers. They love the experience already. So you might need to look at other niches and bring them over. So that's just something to keep in mind, because you're not always going to find somebody who has an exact profile in your niche. If you do, then great, that's awesome. But I just want to go over a few sites that you can go to for now. The first one being shoutcart.com. That's shoutcart.com. Another one is shoutotter.com. And you can see the different shout outs that you can get access to. And we have plughype.com. So you can see there are many different things like fitness, there's recipes and health and fitness, yoga, and all that. So let's go over here and we got buy, sell, shoutouts.com. And then of course on fiverr.com, fiverr.com, you can also type in Instagram shout out and you'll be able to find a bunch here. Now keep in mind, make sure that they are either targeted, or if they are not, the demographic that they're trying to attract is a similar demographic you have. So if you don't know, always contact them and say, hey, my demographic is male, ages from 25 to such and such. I was just curious to make sure that your audience is very similar as well. So they should know that kind of stuff. If they don't know, then don't use them, because you want to make sure that you find somebody who is knowledgeable. But if you go to shoutcart.com, you can create a free account. You can click on browse up at the top and you can do a search for the keyword. So like I said, I clicked on this one here, but you can see that for a 2-hour shout, which means they're going to shout out to their audience. They're going to say, hey, follow this guy over here. They can, for 2 hours, it's only $5. For 24 hours, it's $10. For a permanent shout out, that's $15. So you can go here, check it out. These other ones are good as well. Now, Fiverr, I will say be careful. Some of these people specifically, and other sites as well, but some people create their Instagram profiles for this very reason. So maybe they have a large following, but at the end of the day, they don't really have quality followers. And the way you know that is by clicking this right here, or doing a search for their name and doing your own due diligence and figuring out, okay, are they actually getting comments, likes, and all of that? Or are they just blasting a bunch of stuff and they're not getting any engagement, right? So it's better to actually buy something, a shout out from somebody who is actually getting engagement, all right? Hello and welcome back. This is video number 6, traffic source number 2. There are a very few software apps out there that will allow you to find other Instagram followers in your specific niche and follow them. Now, of course, this is a warning to you that Instagram has in the past banned some of these apps. So use this at your own risk. If you want to do the white hat way, I would do traffic source number 1, number 3, and number 4. But even number 3 and 4, you can get banned if you overdo it. So the key here is not to overdo it. Instagram, I believe someone said that you have about 500 actions that you can take for every 24 hours, meaning likes, comments, and all that. More than that is just going to look spammy. So typically, if you're just getting started, it's probably best if you start at a lower rate, like 100, and then increase it to maybe 150 or more. But if you start out and do like 400 likes, 400 follows, and all that, that's just going to red flag the algorithm, and you do not want to go down that path. All right. So one specific software is called Follow Adder. That's FOLLOWADDER. And this will allow you to basically find Instagram influencers in your niche and then follow them. So you can follow, you can unfollow Instagram users, you can schedule posts. And another way to get more followers is to even post more. So the more you post, the more exposure that you will get, especially if you are piggybacking on hashtags, which we'll talk later on. But Follow Adder is a software tool. It's a bot that will automatically do a lot of things for you. But as we've seen with other industries as well, a lot of times big companies will crack down and they'll ban the accounts. So just keep in mind that we've seen that with LinkedIn, we've seen that with Facebook, we've seen that with just about any social media platform. So the key here is do it lightly and of course use this at your own risk. Hello and welcome to video number 7, which is traffic source number 1. Hashtags. Even though hashtags is one of the few methods that are popular in the world of social media and very common, hashtags on Instagram are well used all over Instagram. In fact, if you take a look at a Instagram post, a lot of times you'll find that there are 5, 6, 7 different hashtags all in one post. Now, before you can use hashtags, however, you need to have a good set of keywords. A lot of times people just put random hashtags in hopes that they are going to generate traffic. But you're going to do it differently, and instead you're going to find keywords that are already getting traffic to them, and you're going to use those hashtags. So from prior videos, like the videos earlier where we talked about Google suggest keywords and Amazon suggest keywords, you can simply take these specific keywords and break them up for even further. Now, the nice thing about hashtags is you're basically piggybacking on already existing traffic. People are already hashtagging these specific hashtags. There are already traffic going to them. All right. So just like a Google search engine on Instagram, using keywords will allow you to attract a high quality fan of a similar passion. So it's time to do a little brainstorming. Okay, so like I said, Instagram is mainly images. However, to describe your images, it uses a lot of different hashtags. So you don't want to just use a bunch of random tags. You want to use hashtags that are actually getting traffic. Now, certain hashtags or keywords could be getting a large amount of super targeted traffic, so you'll want to use them strategically. So the question is, how do you know if a certain hashtag is getting enough traffic? Well, you could easily find this out by using BuzzSumo and other tools as well. So you want to find a handful of keywords that express your content post and piggyback on that traffic. So if that post is something that intrigues your audience and you've done all the demographical research and all that, then and it's high converting essentially, then you should get a lot of likes and comments and all that. So from that, you want to take a bundle of hashtags that are getting a lot of traffic and you want to combine them into a sentence without making it look like spam. So let me show you how BuzzSumo and other tools work to achieve this. Now, before I start, I want to warn you that when using hashtags, even with hashtags, you can get your account banned if you post too many posts with the same exact hashtag over and over and over again. So basically, at the end of the day, the advice that I can give you is to look as natural as possible. Do not look spammy at all, otherwise you will trigger the algorithm and trigger a red flag and potentially get bans. So like I said in the previous video, if you overdo anything, that's not a good thing. Keep it normal as much as possible. So I'm going to show you 2 different tools. The first one is buzzsumo.com, which will basically help you figure out and analyze what content performs the best for any topic or competitor. So this is kind of a first step. It allows you to figure out what content is performing best. And then of course, we're going to use a second tool called hashtagify.me. That's hashtagify.me. And this software tool, it's free. It allows you to basically find and analyze hashtags. All right. So it's a two-step process. So the first thing you can do is you can either enter the domain name of a competitor. So if you're starting out, obviously you don't have the data and anything like that. So you could find the website of your competitor and enter that here, or you can enter a general keyword, like in this case, scuba diving, just to keep things more consistent. So we type that in and we do the search. We can filter by date, like what is the content that is hot within the last 24 hours, the past week, the past month, the past 6 months, and the past year. So if something is trending just recently, you might want to do at a recent date. And if it's consistent throughout many years, we could choose like the past 5 years. Now, the thing about BuzzSumo is it does cost money to upgrade, but there is a free version, and the free version you can get some ideas. All right. So what we're doing here, you type in scuba diving and you can see what kind of content is really doing really well. So we can see like this one gets 68,000 Facebook engagement. We got Pinterest and all that. We can't necessarily see what's going on in Instagram, but Facebook is a good indication because, and then we have Pinterest as well. Pinterest is also a good indication as well because Pinterest is somewhat similar to Instagram in the sense that it's mainly images. So if we click on Pinterest shares and we can sort it, we can see what is actually doing really well as far as pictures go, right? So we can see the majority of these are like diving gear. So they're definitely selling stuff right here, right? So differences between a dive, a snorkel mask, diving gear. So if we click on one of these, we can take a look at the content and just get an idea of the actual pictures that are involved in all of that. So with Instagram, you can't really link the image to like a URL except for the one URL that you get in your profile. So really what you're looking for is images that are engaging, that are getting high volumes of shares and all of that. Now what you need to do is next is once you get some ideas at BuzzSumo, you can hop on over to hashtagify.me. So let's type in a hashtag. I've done that just now, scuba diving. And we can see that what it'll do is it'll take your keyword and it'll find the other keywords that are surrounding it, like travel, ocean, scuba diving, scuba adventure, underwater, and more. So these are good. And to the right here, you can see this is taken from Twitter. But think about it. We can see that these are the top ones, right? So if they're the top ones, you can simply come here and just grab these hashtags and use them for yourself. But this allows you to find hashtags that are getting traffic. So we could go here, we could type scuba, and we could look under Twitter and see what's going on. But this basically just allows us and gives us an idea of what different hashtags you could potentially use. Now, to get a better gauge on what the volume of traffic that particular hashtag is getting, you'd have to actually go on Instagram. And Instagram is a platform mainly via mobile, but we can actually go there now. Now, one thing you'll notice is that if you go to Instagram.com, you will have to log in. The one way to bypass that is simply by going to Instagram.com/Instagram, as you can see here in the address bar. So once you go here, you will see a search engine and you can begin to search for tags. So let's do a search for scuba. And Just like the Google Suggest keywords, you can see with Instagram, it also gives you suggestions, right? So we got scuba diving girls, scuba diving woman, scuba diving life, scuba diving magazine for mag. So let's just click on that real quick and see what they're posting. So that's the scuba diving mag, and that has 14,000 posts. And if we just put our mouse over, we can see, okay, this one has like 1,700 hearts, which are basically likes, one comment. Then we scroll down, we can see this has 180, 352, 173. So that's a good sign when you can see that there are a good amount of hearts or likes. So you could include something like scuba diving right here and see how many posts it gets. So there's 2,000 posts, which does mean that as you post things, they can get stuck down below, but at the same time, more saturation is actually a good thing, because more saturation means that there are a large amount of people actually looking for these posts. So the more you post, you can get more traffic back to your Instagram profile. But using hashtagify.me allows you to kind of gauge what kind of hashtags you can use, and of course you can verify that via Instagram. Now, before I end this video, I want to say the best way to learn how to kind of bundle your hashtags is if you go to something like this. For example, you see this is only using like one hashtag, so they could be using a few more. I wouldn't use a ton of hashtags, but as you can see, they're definitely using a good amount of hashtags, probably about 5 or 6 or so. But let's just keep clicking. So this one here is a good example. We can see scuba diving, scuba, Ecuador, dive, a bunch of keywords related to like animals, save your sharks and stuff. So this guy is piggybacking on different organizations like Save Our Seas, Save Our Sharks, South America. So basically he's taken all these keywords or hashtags that relate to each other but also relate to this picture and hashtags them. And that's great. So he's hashtagged about 10, 15 different hashtag keywords, and he's got a good amount of likes and all that. Now, I will say, like I said earlier, don't take these keywords and hashtag every single post. Use different posts and different keywords every single time. So you could use scuba and scuba diving consistently, but you want to kind of mix it up. Make it look like you're not spamming. Welcome back. This is video number 8. This is going to be traffic source number 4. So congratulations, you have reached the end of this video course. So this is somewhat of a mixture of traffic and optimization. This is something that most people forget about, but by doing so, you will rank higher in the Instagram ranking system, the algorithm, and all that, and that will help you. So basically, if you think about it, if you optimize your posts, then you'll tell Instagram where you need to be ranked, you'll attract the right person, and then you will get the right traffic, you'll get more conversions, likes, and then you'll increase your rank. So the next traffic source is image captions. Believe it or not, your image captions make or break whether you attract the right or wrong person. If you don't put image captions and you solely rely on the image and the hashtags, then you're not actually getting the full potential of traffic that you could be getting. So in other words, you want to be as descriptive as possible without being spammy like the hashtags, and you want to have captions for your images. So on top of the hashtags, if you do it all right, you have other keywords that you can essentially stuff in. And then that's the nice thing about Instagram is you can literally stuff in a bunch of keywords and actually get away with it and be okay, because that's what they're looking for. So also you want to make sure that they are optimized towards who you want to attract. So the key here is to optimize your captions, your hashtags, your pictures even, and much more. So while this may not sound like a powerful technique, like a mind-blowing traffic source and all that, It's because you're tapping into the Instagram algorithm. Once you get this right, you get the hashtags right, and you do your shout outs and all that, you can really kickstart and jumpstart everything so that you can begin to start creating a snowball effect. So the shout outs will help you in getting people to your page and all that. But by doing that, you start building a snowball that's just going downhill. And just, as you know, with the snowball, as it goes downhill, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger because you got all this optimization right. All right, so let me show you some examples of how this works. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to show you a very quick difference between a brand and a personal lifestyle kind of Instagram profile. So first things first, this one here is Scuba Diving Magazine. So very, very kind of, this is how it is kind of thing. A scuba lab test driver scores a regular during our in-water gear tests. So they're telling them what's happening, who it is, what's in the picture, but also more importantly, what they are doing. So it's part of their lifestyle, part of their day. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing today kind of thing. So this is the caption, and then of course there's the hashtags here. Now on a more personal profile, we can see that the caption is Happy International Whale Shark Day to all shark loving friends. So it's not really related to the picture itself, but it is engaging with the audience. So you could do that as well. But if you use captions that are related to the post but are also engaging as well, that's a bonus and can help you as well. So as you can see, you got captions here, you have hashtags, and you have a good picture. A lot of people, what they do is they just post a picture, maybe some captions, and no hashtag. Or they do hashtags and very little captions, if that. So you kind of, what you want to do is, what I'm trying to tell you is basically balance it out, keep everything so that you have everything optimized and you're able to rank in the Instagram algorithm. Now, like I said, go back to instagram.com/Instagram, get an idea, take a look at what people are doing in your niche, what posts are actually getting good engagement and all that. Don't copy people, but you can use similar hashtags that they're doing well on. Take a look at people that are authorities in your niche that are doing well and kind of follow them and analyze them and potentially mimic them as well. Now, besides images, I'll say videos work really well. But as you know, with Instagram, you can't really take long videos like you would on YouTube. Videos will be like short, very short, 10-second or less clips. So if you can do that, you can also use that to increase your engagement as well. So it's no secret that Instagram has grown to be an incredibly powerful social media platform. In fact, even Facebook saw the opportunity and bought the company out. This means more opportunity for you as an advertiser and a brand. If you have an Instagram profile and would like to learn how to properly grow it, there's a way to do things and there's a way not to do them. Have you ever tried to build a following with this platform before and failed? Here's why. Many people fail to create successful followings simply because they're focused on trying to get the biggest following. Have you ever heard anyone say, I have a list of 100,000 followers or even more, or even 50,000? You often hear this, but many people have little or no conversions at all when it comes to promoting any product or service. What's the point of having a massive following when they don't follow you in the end? Exactly my point. How would you like to learn how to do it right? How would you like to learn how to invest your time and money the right way? Instead of realizing months later that it's all wrong and you've wasted precious time you can't get back, how would you like to build a social following that creates an opportunity for you for the long haul? Want to learn how to rapidly grow a super targeted Instagram fan base the right way? If you want to avoid low quality fans, continue on. Here's a quick video's overview of what's inside this video course. Video number 1 is the introduction. Video number 2 is before you drive traffic, let's talk about a list of things that you need to do. Video number 3 is going to talk about broad niche and specific posts as far as your marketing strategy goes. Video number 4 is the demographics, which is very important before you jump into videos 5, 6, and 7, and 8. So 5, 6, 7, and 8 talk about 4 different traffic sources that we have found to be one of the best. So we sifted through the ones over the years and found these 4. So with that said, go ahead and grab this video course today and learn how to build a high quality Instagram following that will love, consume, and buy your recommended products and services.